Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have a 4 versus 4 for you on 38th parallel, and today I'm actually playing on the pack side with Raptor, Spider and Fish once again. Now basically we had a little session where we played a couple of games, and this is the second of those two games. So if I just quickly turn the map around, we can start to have a look at what we were going to do in this particular game. My deck in this game is a USSR deck, and it is very, very powerful. It's probably one of my strongest pack decks, has some of the strongest units in the game, and is pretty easy to rely on during hard fought battles. At the start of this game, we decided that Fish would take the right side, we would have Spider in the centre, and me and Raptor would join together and push towards Juliet. Now today we're playing against Brydock, Smooth Ape, Taman Plays and Yarosh. So let me just put this into my point of view and we can have a look at my unit composition. So I've got a couple of T-64Bs here. These are very good 80-point tanks. They come with a really nice ATGM and they have a decent long-range cannon. I've also got two BMP-2s. These have Motorstrelki in them. Then we've got, we've got four BMP-2s with Motorstrelki in them. We've got two BTR-70s with Igla squads. We've got a ZSU Barusa, which is a radar cannon AA. And then we got a Strela 10M, which is an infrared AA. And we got BTR 70 with a recon infantry squad in it, and an MI2 for even more recon. Then we've got an MI8 MTV for our command vehicle. So this is going to fly towards India, drop off the command infantry squad into one of these buildings, and then we're going to press towards Juliet while Raptor pushes from Kilo. So he's going to capture Kilo, I'm going to capture India, we're both going to hit Juliet together, and then we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, Spider will hopefully be doing well in the middle and Fish on the right. So I really like this composition of troops. BMP-2s are very powerful. They have a 30mm autocannon and they have a very nice Conquer's ATGM, which has 20 AP power and a range of 2,625 meters. Then we got that complemented by the T-64Bs, like I said previously. So you can see their 2,625 meter range again with 20 AP power. Basically exactly the same ATGM. It's just this provides cannon support and this provides auto cannon support. Now my BTR 70s, I love these because they always move faster than the rest of the troops, and if you occupy them with infrared AA troops, then that's the best way to catch out enemy helicopters. If you always keep the AA at the front of your convoys, then it's very likely that you're going to catch out anything that tries to take it out, like aircraft or enemy helicopters. And that's why I would never recommend putting your CV forward first, which some people often do just because they don't micromanage enough. They lead with their command vehicle. That's a very poor thing to do, because obviously you're going to lose your command vehicle if anything comes in to attack the convoy. Whereas if in this case you've got your BTRs with your infrared AA in them up the front, then if anything like these Super Cobras, for instance, comes and tries to harass your convoy, then they're going to die pretty quickly. So Raptor's got the same idea here with two OT-64Cs. These have Strela squads in them, and they're going to help me here take out some of these helicopters that we've spotted as we've crossed the bridge. So there, 100 points worth of Black Hawks get shot down by my two Igla squads. And now we've got 2 Super Cobras over on the left trying to harass my forces. And they managed to hit a shot onto my T-64B, but with the composition of AA that I have, we've got my Eagle Squad shooting down Super Cobras, my BTR's causing a distraction on the left, and my Barusa stunning and shooting down any helicopters that are getting closer. And I've got my Strela 10M here, moving forwards to try and chase down the Super Cobra on the top left here. Fortunately, I just about managed to shoot down the AH-1J Cobra, which is his recon, as his Super Cobra escapes. And just so that my Strela 10M doesn't get destroyed, I move that away from the town, and as soon as the Rifleman squad is spotted, my fire support begins to take effect. So I've dropped out the 4 Motorstrelki squads that I had in the BMP-2s, and now I'm going to start spreading out my BMP-2s and the T-64Bs to provide a base of fire so that the Motorstrelki can push into the town. So at the start there, because the enemy focused so much on helicopters and didn't expect us to have that much AA, we managed to shoot down a lot of their helicopters without taking many losses ourselves, which actually put me 370 points above the enemy. You see, as soon as any squads are spotted, they get absolutely annihilated by the base of fire from my vehicles. The BMP-2s quickly deal with this VAB, with their Conkers, as my Motorstrelki continue to press towards the town. A huge skirmish here as the BMPs provide their fire support onto the paratroopers that are trying to prevent my Motorstrelki from getting into town. We've got an AMX-10P over here trying to provide fire support for the enemy, and that gets destroyed by the Conkers of the BMP-2s. Raptor has kindly brought up a T-815 Kolos, which is resupplying the Conkers of my BMP-2s. And now, to be more aware of any cluster bomb strikes, you can see I've spread out the BMP-2s even more. And now I'm attack moving them so they can help out with killing the paratroopers, and I brought forward my Mi-8 MTV, which is the command infantry helicopter, and that uses its rocket pods to just utterly destroy the last paratrooper squad in the city. So now my Motorstrelki squads haven't completely died yet, but being in a skirmish like this with 18 riflemen isn't going to allow them to live very long. Now my Mi-8 MTV has been caught out by a PBADS, fortunately due to the BMP-2s, and this one now being elite, we managed to destroy that with 1 shot, which is really nice. So now the enemy is deciding to bring up a Lynx AH-1 TOW. Now this is an issue because it's going to actually start destroying some of my units quite badly, especially these BMP-2s on the left, as you can see. But I managed to destroy a Recon Ferret here, and over on the left my BMP-2 survives a shot to the front armour from this Lynx AH-1 TOW, and then my Barusa I use with a fast move up this road to take that out of the sky. So it's time to get my BMP-2s back. I've since brought in an Mi-26 to sit behind this tree line on the left, which will allow all of my troops to resupply in good time. So I've dropped out my Razvedka squad on the right. This is my recon infantry. So that's what's scouting a lot of the units that are coming over on this right side. And then I've got my Mi-2, which is hovering above this tree line here, which is spotting a lot of the stuff that would happen on the left. But the momentum's kind of stopped for now, because all of my troops need rearming and repairing. It's basically caused me to have to retreat all of my troops towards the Mi-26 to do just that. Now meanwhile, Raptor's tried to put his Strela 3s into this town, but they were engaged upon by a rifleman squad, so he is now retreating those. And he's set up a base of infantry on the left in this compound here. Now this is really good at the start of the game, because it allows us to basically stop the enemy from getting a advantage in terms of reinforcement points, and actually gives us the advantage because we took it so early on. So now I've spotted an M1 IP Abrams here, and I bring in my Su-27M to take that out. It manages to hit both the Abrams and a AMX Roland 3. Now that Su-27M, if you're wondering, is the Su-27 with the TV missiles. Now here the Thunderbolt luckily hits one of my AA vehicles, manages to destroy the Strela 10M, but unfortunately for them, the Thunderbolt doesn't get away, as Raptor's 2 Cubs on the right here managed to shoot it down. And we're still getting more kills on the left, as my T-64B manages to kill another vehicle. Now unfortunately, I got both of my BMP-2s destroyed on the left, but I've still got the 2 on the right, and now they're trying to take out any infantry squads in this town. And they went really close so that they could be fired upon and then shoot at the enemy riflemen, but I didn't necessarily want to risk it because these BMP-2s, even though they only cost 25 points each, are still quite valuable to use throughout the course of the battle. So I decided to just retreat them and get them resupplied. So there's M1 IP Abrams sneaking around in this town. Kind of want to get that out of the way. But in the meantime, we've got Spider here with 2 BM-21 Grads artying the town. Fish brings in a MiG-27K and hits that with an infrared missile. And I'm now firing at it with an Mi-8 MTV as well. But as long as these infantry squads are still being spotted, it's giving targets for my Mi-8 TV, which has a very accurate rocket pod. Now, people very much underestimate the Mi-8 MTV. Now this is again the helicopter that brings in the command infantry squad. It has a HE power of 4 and a 30% accuracy and has 20 rockets. It's very good at sniping infantry squads in buildings. And that's why I've got it here hovering over this tree line to fire at this range at any infantry squads that appear in the town. So if we just go to the neutral perspective, you can see that we managed to destroy the M1 IP Abrams and one of the infantry squads that was remaining in that town. Now we've only got a US Marine squad here and an LVTP 7A1 sitting at the back. But I'm still not confident to push forwards. A US Marine squad will still take out my BMP-2s at close range. Now we got an electric Voodoo coming in here. Nice Canadian Seed aircraft. Actually manages to destroy my Bruiser. And unfortunately doesn't get shot down this time by Raptor's Cubs. As soon as this AMX 10P shows itself, it takes a hell of a lot of fire from my BMP-2s and the Mi-8 TV. But we really want to get rid of it, so jokingly, Fish brings in a MiG-27K and decides to hit it with a gun run instead of using the infrared missiles. And the way you can do that is actually fire position with a infrared missile aircraft, and it will come in and do a gun run like you just saw. But I managed to take out the AMX 10P before that, and therefore it wasn't too much of an issue. Now over on the right, you see Spider's Su-22MP managing to get a few hits onto PVADs in this area using its anti-radar missiles, which has opened up the air and allowed me to bring in Su-27M to finish the job. Now meanwhile on the left here you can see my Buratino hitting the town with flame rocket arty. But meanwhile I'm just trying to kill as many PVADs as possible with this Su-27M. Now TV guidance missiles are incredibly underrated, and that vehicle is just very, very powerful. Spider brings in an Su-22M4P to finish off the last PVADs, and Raptor's turning on and off his cubs in order to try and catch out this electric voodoo. Now it manages to get away once again, but that just shows you what I was talking about in the last episode, where you can turn off your radar AA and turn it back on again in order to avoid anti-radar missiles. Now, some people suggested really nice solutions in the last episode as well, in the comments. People suggested that you keep the radar off all the time, and then you would be able to turn it on when you need it. In this case, Raptor still manages to shoot down the electric voodoo, which gets rid of one really nice seed plane right there. It's going to help us out a lot throughout the rest of this battle. But now we have a couple of LVTP 7A1s putting an amphibious push through towards this front line, which means Raptor has to get out of there. Raptor with his Cub and his UAZ basically trying to get away. Spider brings in a Lim 6 Bis to destroy one of those with rocket pods, and now I've got my BMP-2s on this side of the river trying to destroy them from range. Now, although my BMP-2s are amphibious, if I put them into the river, they won't actually be able to shoot onto anything that's on land because they will be out of line of sight. So I put them on the riverbank on the opposite side and use them as fire support against these US Marines as my Razvedka engage them. Unfortunately, the Razvedka get hit by a direct artillery shot, which takes out the entire squad in one hit, which is really annoying. But now I've managed to push up a couple of extra Mostrelki squads on the left using a couple of extra BMP-2s, which are these two here. And now I've got a couple of Spetsnaz squads moving up, which have been dropped off out of these Mi-8 TVs. And with that Grad artillery strike, there's still infantry here, but my Spetsnaz managed to get really close. And I think the reason that that happened was actually because of all of the craters may have caused a bug on the line of sight, which caused the US Marines not to engage my Spetsnaz from range, which would have been much more effective for them. Unfortunately here, a bit of micromanagement. One of my Mi-8 TVs does get shot down. I meant to land the infantry squad here and then micro the infantry squad into the town, but I accidentally moved the helicopter on its own. And over on the left, they managed to catch out a couple of my Mi-8 TVs that dropped off the Spetsnaz with these two Avengers. Now the Avengers are very good for doing that kind of maneuver, just catching out stranded helicopters, because they move so fast. But in the middle here, the Spetsnaz finish off the LVTP that was defending the town, and now we have full control over this area here. Now you're probably wondering why we haven't captured this yet. Well, we kind of have. We are contesting it at the moment with this UAZ on the left of Raptors, but there is therefore a command vehicle somewhere in this area. So I'm deciding to move my BMP-2s forwards to attack this area. That's before I spot an Apache with its Hellfire missiles. The Hellfire missiles being extremely potent, managed to destroy both of my BMP-2s, no problem, as they tried to retreat to the road and fast move away. The idea was that they would fast move behind this tree line, the Apache would therefore be taken out by the Strata 3s of Raptor. Then in this case, we've now got an infantry engagement on the left. Smooth 8 is pushing forwards his paratrooper 90s. these LBTPs being taken out by Raptor's Conquer squads, which is allowing Raptor's Vizakari to avoid the grenade launcher fire. But here comes a huge infantry attack. Now moving forward, my Buratino here. That's getting ready to fire onto this advance. But it looks like Raptor's one step ahead of me. And he decides to make use of Albatrosses. These have 2 500-kilogram bombs each. He targets one squad with each. And boom. Goodbye, infantry squads. Now, I was planning to fire onto this advance with my Buratino, but because they were so close to Raptor's front line, I decided against it, so I actually cancelled the Buratino mid-strike and then aimed at the back of the sector where I might be able to hit enemy troops and the enemy CV. Luckily, this rocket right here manages to blow the crap out of the enemy's UAZ. Unarmoured command vehicles, never a good idea, but the enemy decided to bring in the Aardvark, Australian Aardvark, and overkill my Buratino, because it managed to destroy the CV at the back of Jots. Now ideally, I would have brought up these BTR-70s earlier. These are going to have Igla squads in them, and they're coming up to reinforce this town with infrared AA. If I'd got them up there sooner, this Apache would have been easy pickings. But fortunately for him, that didn't happen. And therefore, I've only been occupying it with the Spetsnaz squads and the Motorstrike in the meantime. So now, after the big push at the start, which allowed us to basically secure Jot, it has slowed down a lot now. We've got my BMP-2s still sitting back in this forest here because I don't want them to be picked off by the use of their M1 IP Abrams and the Apaches. And I don't have any significant AA at the moment in order to destroy the Apaches and enemy helicopters that they might be using, especially at the start of the game where they were using a lot of AA. Now here I bring in my Su-27M for the last time. It manages to take out this M1 IP Abrams, which was the idea, but after being harassed by the PVADs on the right of Smooth Ape, it gets hit by a missile of the Avengers on the left as it flies around to circle away. And this MI2 that I pressed forwards does unfortunately get taken out by these 2 AMX-10Ps. They are now advancing towards this town. But thanks to Raptor's Conquers, he managed to destroy both of those and an Avenger on the left. These Conquer squads doing favours throughout the game. The HGM Milan squad that's left over gets annihilated by the machine guns of the Motorstrike, and that's job done. Up on the left here, you can see I'm starting to use some T-34-85s. Because I saw the Lynxes fly over to this compound earlier, I assumed there would be a lot of infantry there. And because Raptor's already got his Vidakari in the area, it's very good for me to complement those with the T-34s. Now in this case, the enemy has 2 Milan 2 squads sitting right in this tree line here, and my T-34s at this range don't even spot them until they get even closer, which is just ridiculous. Either way, the Milan 2 squads, I do manage to take them out, and then I'm forced to rush my T-34s into this tree line because I'm now being engaged upon by an M1 IP Abrams on the left. So my BMP-2 here manages to snipe a Avenger moving across the road. But the Apache is back in business and is coming to harass my BMP-2s. So I basically have to bring this BMP-2 into cover. On the left side here, Fish has brought in a MiG-27K and hit that M1IP with an infrared missile. But to finish it off, Raptor brings in his own MiG-23BN, which does get shot down, but manages to kill off the tank that survived, and another Avenger on the left. So Raptor's brought in an Albatross here. That's going to bomb the backside of this forest, which was actually a really good move because the enemy did have some infantry moving forwards here, and as alongside this SBS squad that actually survived. So he severely weakened them with that bombing strike, and it allows us here to just annihilate the SBS squad and move forwards to take over the Hempt of the enemy. So this Hempt here, I've captured. I bring back to our lines, and then we start harassing the enemy from this tree line. Now you're probably wondering why we were putting so much emphasis on capturing this town here. Well, it's actually because this is quite a large strategic objective on the map. There is no way that we're going to be able to press towards Sheraton from this direction if they control this compound here. And the reason for that is because they could place HGMs here, they could place tanks in this place here, and then we would be basically screwed trying to get cut across. Now finally, we managed to shoot down the enemy's Apache with the use of Raptor's Strela 3 squads. I do actually lose my BMP-2 though to the Apache before that happens, and therefore I'm only left with these 4 T-34s in this tree line. But I'm now using this Hempt to resupply the squads in the area, but unfortunately it's got very low on fuel there, and it does actually have its fuel and spare parts turned off, which is something that I didn't realise until later in the game, which is why it didn't necessarily repair the Vizakari squads, it just resupplied them. On this right side, moving forward is BTR to spot out any infantry in this little town here, and with the use of this Mi-8 MTV and the BMP-2, we managed to destroy this Legion squad just here. So I'm pushing forward this BTR-70 even more, just to use it as a scout. And I do manage to spot out this AMX-30 Roland 3, which gives our teammate an artillery target. But what I should have done at this point is really reversed this BMP-2 back to our lines so that it wasn't attacked by the enemy HGMs that were occupying this village here. And the BMP-2 manages to get a shot onto a troop carrier just here. And then after that kill, I start to press him forwards. Again, a mistake really, considering I knew that there was enemy HGMs in the area. And with a tank shot from the left from this M1IP Abrams, and an HGM from the right, BMP-2 dies a horrible death. Now the BTR, I decide to retreat. Decide not to give them any extra points, because at this point in the game we are leading by 3,460 points to the enemy's 2,105, and at the start I had basically like 800 points from our initial push, and then it basically became a lot slower. So although we are slowly pushing forwards, as you can see, it's not really as cost effective as it was initially, because they're starting to use more cost efficient troops like the M1IP Abrams and the Apaches. Now over here you saw the T-34 managed to snipe an Avenger, which was probably mismicroed towards this tree line. But thanks to the artillery strikes, we are managing to dislodge the enemy in this forest area here, which is the next point of contention that we need to get rid of in order to be able to press across the map. First, we need to attack into this town here. I'm pushing forwards my Spetsnaz. They're going to engage with these paratroopers. Thanks to the napalm rockets, that's not going to be much of a contest. And that allows me to take them out very, very easily. So we've got another 2 Spetsnaz squads moving up now. Managing to destroy a couple of Lad Javelins on the left here. But the paratroopers are unfortunately just out of range of the napalm rockets. Still managed to do a little bit of damage to them with the RPK-74s. Estrella 3 managed to shoot down a Lynx AH-1 there. And over on the left, my Mi-8 TV is being attacked by this Lad Javelin, which does manage to shoot it down before my Spetsnaz engage it. Now this Spetsnaz squad manages to destroy the running paratroopers. Unfortunately on the left, a bombing strike manages to hit my Spetsnaz and weaken them a little bit, but it doesn't actually kill the squads. The Lad Javelin did manage to hit that aircraft, but not kill it. And I'm trying to get rid of this squad completely so that we can start to use some helicopters. The enemy brings in their aardvark once again and decides to bomb the forest and my Spetsnaz. So Spetsnaz is now down to 5 men after surviving 2 bombing strikes. Luckily the aardvark completely missed the majority of my forces here, which was really, really lucky. I only destroyed 1 of my T-34s and half the Spetsnaz squad. And the rest of the bombs actually missed, which was interesting. Either way, after allowing the Lad Javelin squad to get away, I'm going to be continuing to push the T-34s forwards. And they come across a paratrooper squad, which actually managed to kill very, very quickly with the main guns. But because they take so long to reload, the paratroopers managed to destroy all 3 of the tanks. And finally, we've managed to get control of this left side. But you can see the enemy is still reinforcing it, and it just shows how much of a strategic objective this area was. The Spider's Limb 6 Bis does come in with a rocket strike and hits the paratroopers, which stuns them and allows me to finish them off with the Spetsnaz. Over on the left, Raptor's using OT-64Cs to shoot down the enemy's Lynx AH-1s. So meanwhile here you can see that Fish has brought up Conker's squads, and they have been used to harass the enemy as they are trying to reinforce the left side. I brought up a couple of my own Agorna-Strauki squads, which are 10-man squads with really nice ATGMs. Their range has been nerfed considerably to 1,575 meters, but they still have an accuracy of 55% and an AP power of 26, which is incredibly powerful against even heavy tanks. But continuously throughout this game, this forest area is artied as it is continuously reinforced. Its M1 IP has taken a beating, and there is continuous reinforcements in the form of these LBTPs and US Marines. Now over on this left side here, you can see that I brought up an Mi-26 to try and repair these BMP-2s and resupply these Spetsnaz. But unfortunately, because of this LVTP-7A1, it does take a lot of damage. I'm forced to use these Mi-8 TVs in order to stun the LTP-7A1 so that my Mi-26 can escape. And it's up to Raptor's Vizakari to finish those off as the US Marines engage with my Spetsnaz and my Motostrelki. I actually put the Spetsnaz into the same building as the US Marines so they can take them out at close range with their AKS-74Us. Spider's trying to use his Su-22 M4Ps to take out any more radar AA with the anti-radar missiles, but because there was a lot of infrared AA, they weren't that effective, and this one manages to get shot down very easily. Now my Spetsnaz are engaged with these paratroopers. Fish brings in a Su-27PU to finish off these Harrier GR1s. Also, a missile from the MiG-19s that were flying past helped kill the last Harrier. Now my Spetsnaz are engaged with these Digger 90 squads, but because there's 40 of them and we're engaging from machine gun range, the Spetsnaz squads aren't actually that effective. So in this case, I actually decide to retreat the Spetsnaz so that they aren't outmatched by the Digger's machine gun. Spider brings in a MiG-23BN with rocket pods and manages to destroy that paratrooper squad, which enables my Spetsnaz to get some respite. Raptor's moving his Vizakari forwards in order to destroy the enemy M1IP Abrams. And these aren't the good Vizakari that the Russians get with the 875mm RPG, but they still do the job. We get even more air support on the left here to destroy the infantry in this forest, but the enemy's brought up 2 Eurofighter Typhoons and manages to shoot down one of our aircraft. Fortunately, the Limb 6 manages to get away, but now it's just a matter of artying this forest to death so that we can destroy all the infantry that's left in there. But we're now taking mortar fire in this town. You can see that my Motostrelki and my Gornostrelki are waiting in order to attack this town. You can see that I put a marker there in order to smoke it, but instead Raptor and Spider decide to use rocket artillery in the form of these RM-70s and the Grads, and you can see that just absolutely crashes this town with rocket artillery, which stuns a lot of their units and destroys even more. A really nice accurate artillery shot there manages to destroy the enemy's CH cargo helicopter. And now the smoke comes in as the infantry advances in order to push into this town at Charathon. So we're currently 4,840 points to the enemy's 3,350, and we want to finish this game with a bang. So, Raptors decided to use Motostrelki, push up into the back of the town, and I'm now pushing up through the front with the Motostrelki and the Gornostrelki, using these Mi-8 TVs as well to try and take out as many of the troops as possible, managing to destroy an enemy mortar up here. And now I'm bringing in even more Mi-8 TVs with more infantry to destroy the rest of this town. So a really nice line of smoke there, manages to cover the advance of my Motostrelki, get them really close to the US Marines here, and Raptor's Motostrelki actually finish those off. moving these MI8 TVs over onto the right side to try and get to this village here. Unfortunately, they get taken down by a stray infrared AA unit in this forest. But I do manage to land out these 2 reinforcing Gornostrelki squads in these MI8 TVs to help them move through this town. So making really good progress here. The Gornostrelki squads are still perfectly fine. But it's really Raptor who's doing most of the work here at the moment. Aardvark hits us again, and finally we destroy it. That's been a bane to our existence the entire game. Finally managed to destroy it towards the end. But one thing I really did notice about that Aardvark usage was that he should have brought it in from this direction, like above the town, and dropped the bombs, the 8 1,000 kilogram bombs, across the town. It's like a nice line here. He could have annihilated all of this infantry in one bombing round. But because he decided to focus whatever it was that was here instead, he actually misses a lot of it. Over on the left, my Su-27 PU comes in and manages to take out a vehicle. It does get shot down by another straight infrared on the left. Because we're so confident at this point that we're going to win the game, we're just pressing for victory with 1 minute left, which includes Fish and Raptor and Spider, using tons of units together for a large combined push to finish the game. So although this isn't the most organised push, without any infrared AA at the front at the moment, we are still dealing quite a lot of damage to the enemy. With that last airplane being shot down, we win the game with 6,000 points, 40 seconds before the end of the game. And there you have it. A really nice, fun game. So, really hope you enjoyed this game. What I really liked about this one was the way in which we worked together in order to finish off the game. I also really liked at the beginning of the game my use of the army composition in order to make a really effective push against a person who decided to use basically an airborne strategy. The use of my Barusa and the Strela 10M at the beginning really caught out the enemy's Blackhawks, also the 2 Igla squads moving forwards fast with the BTR 70s. Manpad squads are incredibly powerful at the moment, so make sure you make good use of them. But you can actually see here, I finished the game negative in terms of points. 1,835 kills to 1,905 losses. And that's because after the beginning of the game where I did so well, I actually started throwing away a lot of units unnecessarily. And it's really something that I need to personally improve on, is my own micromanagement that causes a lot of my troops to die unnecessarily, especially with aircraft, getting them shot down by infrared AA and stuff. A lot of it is often unlucky, but it still starts to count when it happens a lot. But either way, you can see that Raptor, who joined me on the left, got 2,130 kills to 1,070 losses, so a very good game there by him. And Fish did even better with 1,415 kills to 295 losses, an incredible KD there. Spider, unfortunately, not so well, but still a vital part of that game. So either way, not many hero units really, but you can see how well this BMP2 did by taking out a Black Hawk, a Raden, a T-2013, an AMX-10P, a PVADS, a Ferret, and a Rifleman squad. We got a Spetsnaz squad here with a few nice kills. We got an Su-27M, which managed to kill 2 M1IP Abrams, 2 M163 PVADs, and an AMX-30 Roland 3. And these are 3 AA units, which should counter the Su-27M. So very, very strong aircraft there. Make sure you use that if you're ever using a USSR deck. But I will, of course, leave the deck in the description as I normally do. So please feel free to check it out. And in the meantime, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.